Howdy y'all, my name's Jen. Welcome back to the channel. The topic of today's video is fall gardening. So we're going to go over a few things in this video. We're going to talk about how to prepare for your fall garden. We are also going to talk about succession planting, crop rotation, the pros and cons of having a fall garden, and I'm going to give you an idea of what I plan to have in my fall garden. This will be my first year having a fall garden. So if I've missed anything, please don't hesitate to leave a comment and let me know what I can do differently or better. Before we get too far into this, I would like to remind you to please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you like gardening videos. My husband and my family and I just bought raw land in Arkansas. So a lot of our videos coming up are going to consist of our new journey. We bought vacant land. There is no water or electric on the property as of now. We plan to move there and build our house, and that will be coming over the next year. As you can see, guys, my garden is very overgrown. It's been a very, very busy summer, and I have most definitely lost my battle to the weeds. I've also lost my battle against squash bugs. You can tell that I have a lot of dying foliage that I need to clear out and get ready so that I can prepare for my fall garden. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be pruning back a lot of my tomatoes. So for instance, you can see how this tomato wants to grow up, but a lot of these got a little bit of damage in a storm and they kind of fell back. So anything that doesn't have fruit growing on it, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off and encourage it to grow back up. I think I still have some life in the tomato season, and I want to try to get more tomatoes than what I've gotten so far this year. But there is a lot that is dying and that I need to clean out of here. And the weeds are ridiculous. So the first topic that I want to talk to you about is planning ahead. As with your spring garden, it is important to plan ahead, because if you start your plants from seed like I do, you have to get a head start. You need at least 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks for your transplants to get big enough and strong enough to be able to set out in the garden. So I'm getting a little bit of a late start on this, but I'm still hoping that our growing season here in Zone 7 will be long enough to get another full harvest out of our stuff. So my first step is to plan what you want to plant, plan where you want to put it, and then I have to clean up all of this to make room for new stuff. The next topic I want to talk to you guys about is succession planting. Succession planting is the practice of seeding crops at intervals in order to maintain a consistent supply of harvestable produce throughout the season. So some of the best plants for succession planting are crops like beans, beets, summer squash, peas, and cucumbers, because they grow really fast. So, long story short, if you want to harvest cucumbers all year long, cucumbers are one of those things, they grow fast and they die out quickly. And they're very susceptible to squash bugs and a variety of diseases and fungus and stuff like that. So, it's best, with succession planting, you can start seeds about every 4 weeks. And so you have a new crop coming into maturity about every 4 weeks. And by the time that your first crop is dying, your next crop is coming to fruition. So if you want to really increase your harvest during the season, it's important to practice succession planting. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is crop rotation. Now, crop rotation is important because crop rotation is a system of growing different things in different areas in your garden, if that makes sense. So the main reason farmers use crop rotation is, one, because it increases your yields. If you plant the same thing in the same place year after year, it's going to deplete your soil. However, if you rotate crops, it'll add back to the soil, which will also increase your yields And in addition to that, it even disrupts the life cycle of pests. So when you're growing squash, it's important to utilize crop rotation, because in this instance this year, my squash got covered up with squash bugs. So that ground, that bed that I used for the squash this year is likely to have an abundance of squash bugs and eggs and stuff like that. So if I plant squash in that same location, I'm more likely to have problems with the bugs and disease and stuff that affected my crop this year. So good crop rotation means not growing the same family of crops in the same area year after year. For instance, tomatoes and potatoes are in the same family. So you wouldn't want to grow potatoes where you grew tomatoes in the previous season. Here is a picture of what crop rotation looks like. You want to be on a 3 to 4 year cycle where you rotate your crops and don't grow tomatoes in the same place for 3 years. This is going to help increase your yield, as well as it's going to improve your soil, and you're going to be less susceptible to pests and disease. Now let's talk about some of the facts and the pros and cons pertaining to fall gardening. This is information that I have compiled from my research because this is my first fall garden, and this is what I've learned along the way. So if I've missed anything, please leave me a comment. First off, a successful fall garden starts in mid to late summer. Some crops can be started from seed, while others need to be started indoors and transplanted. So if you direct sow your seeds, one of the things that you have to worry about is it drying out too quickly. Because if you're starting from seed in the garden, you have to remember that the beginning of the fall season actually happens in late summer. And so it's really hot and really dry generally. So you're gonna have to water more often if you start from seed, because it's that top layer of soil that really needs to stay moist in order for seeds to germinate. Also, if you're going to be starting from seed in the garden, you probably want to use some sort of insect netting, because mid to late summer is when bugs are in full bloom. So one of the greatest benefits about fall gardening is that at some point, all of your summer pests start to die off. And by using crop rotation, you can really move things around and confuse the bugs and disrupt their life cycle. So this is kind of a double whammy, because as the days get cooler, one, you're not sweating as much when you're working in the garden, and two, your plants will love it. A lot of plants suffer from something called blossom drop, which is when it's too hot or your plants get too much sun. They kind of go into a stressed state, which means that they grow flowers, but instead of those flowers turning into fruit, they just fall off because the plant is stressed and it's too hot. This can be remedied with shade cloth. I have not personally used shade cloth, so I don't know what to recommend there. This is just something that I've learned through my research. So two of the cons of starting a fall garden is, one, you're starting off when it's really hot. So as I previously mentioned, if you start seeds outdoors, you're going to have to water much more frequently to keep those seeds moist enough to germinate. In addition, you're starting off in a season where all of the bugs are in full force. Okay guys, so I'm really excited. Like I said, this is my first fall garden ever. I will be having surgery at the end of the month. This is August. I'll be having surgery at the end of the month. So I have a lot of work to do in my garden, getting it cleaned up and planting new things before I am down for 4 to 8 weeks. So you may be wondering, what are some things that I'm going to plant in my fall garden? So first off, I'm going to keep my tomato plants. I'm just going to prune them back because I know that it isn't time to pull them up yet. I think I can still get a little bit more life out of them. So I'm going to prune them back to encourage growth, and hopefully cutting back all the dead foliage, I'll be able to encourage the plant to produce more fruit. I will also be growing more cucumbers and more summer squash. I'll be growing winter squash, beets, and radishes. I'm going to be starting all of my brassicas over again. So brassicas are the cabbage family. They include cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, that kind of stuff. I'll also be growing more spinach and lettuce, as those are cooler season crops. I'll be growing carrots, which I did not have in my fall garden this year. I will also be growing more peas, garlic, onions, and potatoes. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more gardening videos. I have a lot of work to do, guys. I'm gonna have to go get the kids to come help me. We have a lot of weeds to pull. We need to weed eat out here and mow. We have a lot of pruning to do and even some harvesting. So I have to go get the kids and we got to get started. It's getting hot out here. If you want to see more of what we do, here's the last video that we uploaded, and here's a playlist. Thank you for watching, guys. Until next time, have a blessed day.